You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Zev Brenner. I know Rabbi Simcha scholar for so many years. In fact, I davened when he had his shul in Brooklyn. Today, he is the CEO of a major Jewish organization, Chai Lifeline, which is the Jewish community's leading children's health support network. And they do amazing work throughout the year. And the summertime, of course, is when they have Camp Simcha. And joining us as well is Bari Erber, who is one of the close friends of Rabbi Scholar and the Chai Lifeline organization, and they're being honored at the Chai Lifeline Gala Dinner. So both of you, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you
for having us.
Let me go with you, Rabbi Scholar. It's been so many years that I know what you're doing. You formed this organization in 1987. They've grown tremendously. Unfortunately, the need has also grown in the decades that you've been involved. So just give our audience an overview, some of the activities, some of the work that Chai Lifeline does on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. Chai Lifeline is one of the largest, not the largest community-based organization in the Jewish world, and probably in the world at large, dealing with illness, primarily pediatric illness and the ramifications of illness on the entire family. What is unique about Chai Lifeline is our total approach to the entire family. We believe that when a child is ill, the whole family suffers in every aspect of family life, whether it's the trauma of the diagnosis, whether it's the sibling issues, whether it's husband and wife, whether it's community, school, medical information. Everything gets upset when a child has a life-threatening illness. And Chai Lifeline has multidisciplinary services that are able to help the family stay together and hold their hands through life's most horrific situation, your child being ill. And we are represented by Chai Lifeline regions all throughout the world. We deal with 6,500 families a day with various different types of situations. And we also have a whole department that deals with trauma in itself, death, terrible car accidents, situations when there's terrible fatalities. The Chai Lifeline crisis teams are there throughout the world. So, we have a large professional staff, a couple hundred people. We also have a large volunteer base of over 5,000 volunteers that we train them to be unpaid professionals. And that's why we're able to do what we do in comparatively a very small budget. Obviously, the treasure in our treasure chest is Camp Simcha. Camp Simcha for children with cancer, and Camp Simcha special for children with all other types of illnesses, which is one of the most unique camps and facilities in the world, where children that are ill, very ill, and very medically compromised are able to have a summer experience under the watchful eyes of doctors and nurses and therapists and different types of medical professionals, and they're able to be kids, because inherently all of these children are kids, just they have some type of circumstance that allows them to kind of be delayed in terms of their advancement. But if we can build them up and we can give them the opportunities that they need, then a disability will turn into what we call in Camp Simcha a different ability. And that's what we're all about. So there is no one really, I don't think, in the Jewish world, in the affiliated Jewish world throughout the world, that has not had some type of experience with Chai Lifeline or Camp Simcha. Whether it's been a family member that's been ill, and someone that they called us when someone died, trying to get your nephew or niece into Camp Simcha. Everyone tries to. Everyone needs some type of connection, and thank God. I'll tell you the truth. We attract the finest and the best in our community. It's one of the few places left in the world that girls and boys come from various different parts of the Jewish community. The client base is ponytails and payas. That's everything that that the Jewish community is and should be. And the staff base is from all different yeshivas, yeshivot. No matter where they come from, they're all the same. They're giving kids. I call them kids, but they're really young adults. They're giving people. It doesn't really make a difference how they read or how they pronounce Ibris or Ivrit or whatever, Chassidish, not Chassidish. It doesn't really make a difference. They're all the same. They're good, giving people, and they bond and they become together as one. The staff members. So it's really a laboratory of Jewish leadership, and it's one of the diamonds in our community. So, as you well know, Zev, we've been on this show way before, but tonight we pay tribute to a power couple, and who have, as I said, we've become real friends, and we're doing great things together for the sake of God's children, helping them become regular kids and regular adults. That's the goal. The goal is to go beyond illness. The goal is, it's not just about putting a smile on a kid's face. It's changing that kid from being a sick child to a child with an illness.
Now, it's so important. And by the way, Rabbi Scholar, you mentioned before regarding helping with traumas, not just even those that are sick or have illnesses, but when there's a tragedy in the community. I remember the shooting that took place in Jersey City and some other tragedies where we've had some of your professionals on the air to help guide people, because it affects other people, not just those that were part of that terrorist incident or that traumatic incident, where people need help, and you're there with your counselors to provide that service to them.
Right. That's what Chai Lifeline does, and Bari can tell you about her own personal experiences up in Camp Simcha. But the philosophy of our organization, that really is Camp Simcha, and everything else that we do, is that every situation, every client, every family is a world by themselves. It's not about numbers by us, even though we, as I said, 6,500 families a day is a
number.
Is a huge number, but it's not about the number. It's about every family. It's worthwhile to build an entire organization like we've built just for the one person. And that is the goal. And that is really who we are. And every one of our people believe that. When they help a family, when a counselor in Camp Simcha gets involved with their kid, they create a lifelong relationship, because that's the only kid that matters to them. I know it from former counselors by us. I know from my own children that had the Camp Simcha experience as a staff member. I have a daughter who has a girl that was a counselorist here at Camp Simcha, and she's still friendly. My daughter is still friendly with one of her campers from like 22 years ago, 23 years ago.
That's nice. That's very nice.
It's special. It's special. It's a bond that's internal, and the friendships that the staff makes, it's so unique, because most of our children, all of our children, they go to the same type of schools, and they go to the same type of camps. They socialize with the same type of people. Usually our friends are the people that daven in our shul, or we get together for the summer with the same types of people. So you very rarely go out of the circle. Your kids very rarely go out of the circle. Whether they go to high school, they're going to the same type of circle. They're going to the seminary or to Israel for their gap year. It's the same type of kid. Here they get together with other girls or other boys from totally different backgrounds, and they probably wouldn't have never ever spoken to them. When would a girl from a modern Orthodox home speak to a Chassidish girl? It wouldn't happen in the regular day-to-day life. And here they bond together, and they become so friendly, and they become like family, and their friendships are so cemented. It's really remarkable. It's exactly what we all talk about: Jewish unity.
We need more of that.
Exactly what we all talk about. Unfortunately, we need a camp for sick children to bring us to that. But this is exactly what we all talk about.
We got to bring back more of the simcha and less of the illness, right?
We just got to respect people for who they are. And we don't have to, there's room for learning, there's room for kira of 100%, but there are certain areas in life that it's just a matter of accepting our differences and looking for what unifies us. And that's what Ahavas Yisrael is all about. So
We're speaking with Rabbi Simcha Scholar, the CEO of Chai Lifeline, the Jewish community's leading children's health support network. And also joining us right now is Bari Erber. She and her husband Daniel are so involved with Chai Lifeline, great friends, and they do a lot of dedications for the organization. So good to see you again, Bari. Welcome.
Thank you. How
So
are you?
Good. I know we're neighbors, and we're glad that you're here on the air with us. So tell us about your connection, your involvement. How did you get involved with Chai Lifeline? And I know that you're good friends with the organization and you do so much for it. So tell us about it.
So a few years ago, I think like 8 or 9 years ago, good friends of ours invited us to be their guests at the dinner that they were chairing at the time. And we said, okay. And we walked in not knowing what to expect. And the second I walked in, I was like, this is where I want to devote a lot of my time. Because when you watch, listen, I grew up in a home that my grandmother taught me chesed is the end all be all. That's what you should be doing in life. And anything you could do to help someone else, that's what you commit to. And when you could make a child that is suffering, going through anything, going through illness, going through a trauma in the family, smile and be besimcha, that to me is the ultimate goal. So our whole life is really trying to live by what Chai Lifeline tries to do. And being that we have a children's accessory company, I started getting involved by giving them backpacks and stuff for the art supply center and hair accessories for children. And then once I understood the workings, I was like, okay, I want to go up to Camp Simcha. I want to see what's going on there. And then I've been privileged to go up there 3 times. And it literally is my favorite day of the summer because these kids just want to be besimcha, and they know they could be suffering and they know that they have stuff going there. But when they get to Camp Simcha, it's like all boundaries are off. And this past summer, I was there and I took a friend of mine who had never been there because we were doing a patch bar there with the kids at Glam Night. And there was a girl there that had cancer of the spine and she couldn't walk anymore and she needed to be carried. And like, it was hard for her to even use her hand. And watching her patch a cosmetic bag with such joy. And then she wanted to give me a hug. Like they just want to be kids. It's exactly what Rabbi Scholar said. They just want to be kids and forget everything else and be, yes, they're sick, but they want to be a child. And a child seeks happiness and joy and simcha. And that's really the goal of what Camp Simcha does. So anytime I could help them, that is my goal, whether it's giving them backpacks or we just made these hats for them for the dinner or whatever we could do for them, we're there for them. And like Rabbi Scholar said, this isn't a friendship that's going to end Tuesday morning after this dinner, but hopefully will continue for many, many, many years to come. And over the years, I've gotten my children involved. My daughter worked for iShine, which is part of Chai Lifeline, where kids after school who are having trauma or sickness come and they learn with kids, and the high school children help them do homework with them. And she really became close with her student or counterpart. And then my niece went to Camp Simcha, and hopefully, God willing, my daughter will go to Camp Simcha this summer. But it's a family. And once you're part of that family, you don't let up so easily, because the joy from being part of this family, it's unbelievable.
No, it sounds like, and I know Chai Life does so much work, and every year more and more people unfortunately need your services. I was curious to know, and both you can answer this question, what happened during the COVID years? How did it affect the day-to-day operations of Chai Lifeline?
Well, that's a very, very good question. But what we did was we regrouped and we took the restrictions and we went beyond our own capabilities. In other words, we created a whole online division that is still up and running today. Very personalized to every client. We created this program called Camp Simcha Without Borders, where even though Camp Simcha was not opened per se because the doctors wouldn't let us have the regular larger programs as we had this past year, but we went to every community. We made smaller programs, and that's still in existence today, actually. Camp Simcha Without Borders, where we have a small facility in Chicago or in LA and all different parts of the country, and they have the Camp Simcha spirit there. So we really did an incredible amount of things. I mean, obviously we couldn't go into the hospitals. We couldn't do our regular volunteerism or case management or advocacy, but we were, very, very busy outside. Unfortunately, people suffered during COVID that they were not able to have this personal interaction for people that were able to help them. That was just the reality. But and we advocated. Listen, we advocated for our clients. Unfortunately, every single illness did not go down during COVID. It just got complicated.
Well, I think it got more because people didn't take care of them, so they didn't go to doctors during COVID. So
yeah, it's true too. That's true. But it became, you're talking about during COVID. Mothers were not allowed out of the hospital. Once you came in certain pediatric wards, once you came in, you have to stay. So there was a mother that I know of personally that was in the hospital for 3 months. She took a shower in one of the doctors that I were able to arrange at a private office. She stayed with her kids. Her husband had to stay with the other kids, and because once she went out, she couldn't come back in, and she wouldn't leave her child, and there was no respite. But we were able to, since of our close relationships with many of the hospitals, we are a part of the staff of the hospitals in a certain hospital, so kind of we were able to get in to help the clients much quicker than most people. But it was pretty challenging. It was a real challenging time. And listen, doctors make an illness better. Okay, they're in charge of the medicine. What we're in charge of is making sure that the medicine works and they become well functioning emotional people. Because if you become well and you beat the illness, but you've been totally traumatized and you're totally off the pathway of any type of normalcy, then you will be a healthy, non-functioning adult, which is not the case, that we all want. Baruch Hashem, we're here.
thank God.
We're larger. We've grown. We've taken the opportunities and we've capitalized on it. Whether it was this Camp Simple Without Borders or entire online divisions, and regrouping our own internal staffing and priorities. Everyone probably did that during COVID. So I think organizationally we're in a better place. Unfortunately, the population is growing, and this is the reason why we have this dinner.
Event of the year is to have this dinner.
It's a critical fundraising event, and and as Bari says, there are a lot of people that come and get inspired, and we continue the trend of support, because this is an organization that represents children. Children need to be treated generationally. In other words, the same way we dealt with kids 10 years ago, you cannot deal with kids today. Children are different, as parents are different, as mom is different. 25 years ago, 30 years ago, when Chai Lifeline began, it wasn't a common thing that mom and dad worked. I mean, father worked, mom was an at-home mom. Sometimes they did work, sometimes they didn't work. Today it's an uncommon thing to be a full-time. It's just the reality of life today. For a lot of different reasons, complicates when a kid has to be in the hospital, for an extended period of time.
And I to watch out for them too, which is what
right. So it complicates things. And for that matter, on the upside, parents are much more sophisticated today. They go online, they Google, they don't take everything for granted. They challenge, and they should challenge, because they want to advocate for the best for their kids. So our job is to give parents information. Our job is to create a wholesome environment where the family stays together. Our job is to take Camp Simcha and make sure it goes on throughout the year, with the relationships of the counselor to the kids, with the whole organizational room of support. That's our job. Because if we do that, then Hashem will send the refuah, will send the heal, The doctors will be the appropriate messengers, and we'll be able to allow them to become functioning adults, and then take it from there. And we see this. There are many, 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 many situations like this. We see this all the time. That because of our involvement, they're after the illness is gone, they're functioning people. And if God forbid it doesn't work out, because
You're still there to help them. You're still there to help.
And that's a reality. We're not dealing only with tonsillitis here. There's a reality. We're dealing with some real sick children, real sick kids. We give out more medication per day in that camp than they do in most pediatric hospitals.
Wow.
We have 3 pharmacists. We have a medical center that's up to par with any local hospital, or even with an emergency room of some of the finest hospitals on the Eastern Seaboard. And we are dispensing more medications than in most pediatric hospitals.
Amazing work. Rabbi Simcha Scholar is the CEO of Chai Lifeline, the Jewish community's leading Jewish health support network. And we're also speaking with Bari Erber. She and her husband, Daniel, being honored by Chai Lifeline for their commitment, for their service, for their dedication. Bari, can you tell us about the Happiness Center that you're putting together?
So Rabbi Scholar and Rabbi Adest, wanted to know what we wanted to be involved in, and really the Happiness Center is what it just brings simcha and happiness to these kids. And I was lucky enough to see it this summer, and inside of the Happiness Center there's a game room and an arcade room, and I don't even know what else, because not all the areas were open. I think the Lego stations are in there. Right. There's computer stations, but it's really a place that just brings happiness. And when I think of simcha, and it's weird to say it, but like Camp Simcha is the happiest sad place in the universe, because you would think that you're going to walk in there and you're going to be like, oh my God, I feel so sad. But there's like the second you walk in there, you feel the simcha in the air. It's like, it like lifts you up to even be a part of it, whether it's the DJ after lunch parties or the night activities, but everyone just wants to be happy and to be there and to like make a difference in someone's life, which then changes. It's like a ripple effect of like who you're affecting there. And that's really what we wanted to be a part of. And like, we hope to continuously be a part of it, because it's bringing simcha. There's no better joy than trying to help someone that is down in their life. But if you could lift them up even one step to when they can get fully recovered, to just be happy and a part, and like sort of realize the experience they had, but not, that doesn't define them. Like what Rabbi Scholar was saying, it doesn't define who they are. It's just a circumstance that they're in, but they can go on living their life and their best life. That's really what we want to be a part of.
But there's a key here that I think Rabbi Scholar said before, and Barry, I'm sure you've seen that firsthand through the work of Chai Lifeline, is it's not just the sick children or the young adults, it's their families that are going through the trauma. And Chai Lifeline is a support system, not only to help the individual who has the illness, but also the family that's dealing with it. It's also the siblings that have to deal with their sick brother or sister. So there's a lot of stress, a lot of tension in families. And Chai Lifeline, from what I see, is doing a lot to alleviate, making the whole family situation much better.
Yes. So what Rabbi Scholar didn't mention, but I was a part of it also, during COVID, when they couldn't have Camp Simcha, we got a call from the person we were working with at the time. And he said, would you want to have a carnival in your house? I'm like, what kind of carnival? He's like, for a whole family. They're going through some stuff. I didn't even ask questions. No problem. They can go swimming. We got them food. We bought carnival games. And literally a family showed up out of a minivan with 5 kids. You could see which child was theoretically the sick child, but like you could see like the whole family had just been down. They spent the day in my pool. They swam. We ate lunch together, and they just felt like a day of reprieve and happiness. So like, that's really like doing that for a whole family is like, it's life-changing, because you're like, I take for granted, Baruch Hashem, may I never need to call Rabbi Scholar for anything other than to get my kid into Camp Simcha. But
did it work? Yes, it did. Okay.
Well, I'm going to get a phone call here.
but like for these people, they don't have a reprieve. They don't know, other than, yes, you could call a doctor, but like Camp Simcha, Chai Lifeline, they're so much different. They're even like, while the kids are at Camp Simcha, I was talking to a mom who once sent their kid to Camp Simcha. They hadn't had a reprieve in years. And for their kid to go to Camp Simcha, and then they know that their kid is taken care of for 10 days so that they could take a nap, they could sleep, they could get their nails done, they could get their hair done. We take these things for granted that we're able to do. But when you have a sick child and you're constantly involved and you're constantly worrying about them and then how it relates to every other child in your household, you forget these things, and someone has to provide for you, and your husband or the wife or both may have to be at work. Like Camp Simcha is doing like soul work. It's like the chicken soup for everything all in one.
And speaking of chicken soup,
of everyone. Yeah.
speaking of chicken soup, that's going to be served at, there's a gala dinner coming up where it's the main fundraiser for Chai Lifeline throughout the year. During the COVID years, you couldn't have it, but I think now people want to get together. They want to see people. I've gone to events and lots of people are coming out, so I'm sure this is going to be a very special one. So tell us about the gala taking place, and you're going to be honored.
Tell us, Rabbi Scholar, what it is.
Listen,
Is there chicken soup on the menu?
The Chai Lifeline dinners are not it's not a dinner. It's an event. It's an engaging event. It's an inspiring event. It's a well executed, situation where everyone has a good time. There's Oz Perlman and there's
He's
who's
a
the
singer, you have a mentalist, right?
So
Jonathan Marcel is the singer that's going to be.
Yes, right. Jonathan Marcel, that's right. And it's a moving program. It's a meticulous program, and it's an inspiring event. And people linger on actually at our dinners. They don't really come and go, because it's made to be an inspirational time. It's made to be for people that are going to be, people come back because they want to be inspired, and they are inspired by the honorees, by the videos, by the message. I think the message probably is the most inspirational, which is the message of we can accomplish, we can do, and we have done. And the theme of the evening is heroes. But the truth of the matter is, when you talk about heroes, you don't necessarily talk about heroes that went through a war and he's my hero. Heroes is sometimes just they're our kids sleeping in the next bedroom. They're our heroes. And when you experience the Chai Lifeline experience or the Camp Simcha experience, you begin to appreciate your own little heroes, far greater. So it's a beautiful event. We encourage everyone to come. Last year, I will tell you, last year we sold out, a couple days before the dinner. We're almost by capacity right now. And it's people come, because they know it's the leading event.
I've gone for so many years. This is the place to be.
Right. This is the place, and we're always reviewing, we're always upgrading, and it's from that perspective. People have a wonderful time. There are people, again, people from all over the community, and it's a great place to spend some time. It's in Pier 60. It's a very, very nice venue, and it's great honorees, and we're going to have it's going to be a moving event.
Well, Bari and Daniel Erber, so the guests of honor, so they're being honored for what they've done over the course of time.
Bari, they don't want to be honored. No, they're not people who take honors. They're people who inspire. And I must say this because I said it, I think, off the show, but I really mean it. These are the young future leaders of our community. And I as you well know, Zev, I was in the rabbinate for many years. I was in formal teaching for many years. I had a couple of Erbers there after. So, but to see the next generation, or the generation of leadership, people that have the appropriate values and the appropriate understanding of the community, is what Klal Yisrael, our nation, is all about. And
I have to ask you, do you miss the rabbin? Because the rabbin is a full-time calling, but it seems to me what you're doing in Chai Lifeline is even bigger calling.
do I miss the rabbit, or does my wife wish me being a rabbi? I will tell you, my wife does not wish me. Does want to be a rabbi again. And my mother, she should live and be well till 120. Who's really not, all there. She has a serious dementia. But one thing she always remembers that you didn't become a rabbi, did you? I told you should become an accountant. Doesn't remember my name sometimes.
But if they used to ring your bell or call you on the telephone all hours, I'm sure with Chai Life they're calling you even more so, right?
Yeah. That's I'm busier now than I was before, but Baruch Hashem, it's a privilege. It's a great privilege that I and my family have, that we were able to dedicate our lives to help Hashem's children, and I feel privileged that this has been our life's travels, and God willing, Hashem should give us more strength to continue to do more until Mashiach will come, when we're all going to go to Eretz Yisrael, and there won't be a need for us anymore. And Camp Simcha will be a camp for
joy,
kids and for joy.
Is Camp Simcha named for you?
No, it's not named for me. It's actually named for Danny Abraham's father. But we're the only organization in the world that will tell you that we really want to go out of business.
Which halavai, we should be healthy. Everybody should be healthy. Chai Life does such great work, 365 days a year. The Gala Dinner is coming up on Monday night. If people want to get more information about Chai Lifeline, they want to support the organization, they want to be at the dinner, they want to learn more, how can they do so?
Well, just go online to the Chai Lifeline dinner, to our website, and please, participate. You can call 212-465-1300. And we're here to assist you. It's going to be a great night with Yonatan Rizel and, as I said, Oz Perlman, and great honorees, great food, and it's going to be a moving evening. And we encourage you all to come, and we encourage you to make reservations quickly, because, as I said last year, we closed reservations, a couple days before, because it's a hot ticket to get.
Rabbi Simcha Scholar, the CEO of Chai Lifeline, the Jewish community's leading children's health support network. Thank you for all that you do. And I've seen how it's grown over the years since 1987 when you formed the group. So much more demand. Unfortunately, more people want your services and they're getting it. But thank you for what you're doing. And I also want to thank you, Bari Erber, for your support. You're the guest of honor. Rabbi Scholars want me to say you're being honored, but you're making inspiration at the dinner. But mazel tov on that, continued success, and to what you're doing to help these children and their families. The family is also an important part of what the Chai Lifeline does. So thank you both for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for tuning in to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast, the pulse beat of the Jewish community.
Do I get a
Jewish program
commercial now?
.com, or our 24-hour-a-day listen line at 641-741-0389. For past shows, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, Instagram, and all major podcast platforms, or jewishpodcast.org. Thanks for listening to the TalklineNetwork.com.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.